and I'm an organizer with Northern Arizona Climate Change Alliance. NAZCCA is a local grassroots people-powered movement in Northern Arizona. Our goal is to really try to bring people together and kind of challenge how we address the climate crisis and really push for strong climate action in our local communities. So, when it comes to climate change, a lot of people are really looking towards the experts for solutions, which is great. Like, there's no doubt that we need all the scientists, policymakers, thought leaders to really collaborate and work together on solutions. But at NAZCCA, we're also really strong believers of people power. So we're working to build a grassroots movement to educate and empower all people to take action to fight climate change. One of our favorite things on our website is a quote that says, "It does not matter who is in power. What matters is the grassroots." And so one of the things NAZCCA is focusing on this year is building teams to inspire change and really empower volunteers to take action in the areas that they're most passionate about. So the event that we're really excited to share with you tonight is led by volunteers as a space to share ideas, strategies, plans for the future, and introduce a couple of our climate action teams. So we'll talk about that in a little bit, but at the end of the presentation, you'll also have an opportunity to ask questions of all of them. So if you can stay muted during the presentations, we would appreciate that. And before we get started, I also wanted to let you know that as a nonprofit, every penny truly counts for us. As with so many nonprofits this year, COVID has really affected the way we raise funds for our organization. So at our virtual events, we drop a link in the chat box. Your donations help fund our local community work. So for those of you who are able, your generosity, no matter how much, truly does mean so much to us. So thank you. And to get started, we have a couple volunteers, Jim Gale from Sedona and Annie Baker from Prescott, that are going to start us off with a little activity.
Good evening. It's so fun to see everyone's smiling faces out there, and I'm delighted to be here tonight as well. And we're just going to start with a kind of get a pulse of everyone on asking a question, and then Annie's going to explain how we're going to magnify your thoughts. And so how's this going to work is, the question is, I want you to start thinking about, just start listing them now on your piece of papers. What are the human causes of climate change? So just start listening, whether it's fossil fuel, coal, fracking, whatever it is, start listing those. And Annie, take it away.
Yeah. So what we're going to do is a word cloud. If you have not done a word cloud before, they're actually really cool. So you can scan your phone on this QR code. You just open up your camera app and it'll take you right there. You can use that menti.com and type in the code. And there should be a link in the chat as well. And you'll type in your answers, whatever you thought of. And so the more everyone else types in and submits a specific word or phrase, the bigger it will get. And so everything that you contribute is added to this little cloud, and the algorithm or whatever shapes it into this cute little design, and we just get to see what everybody thinks. And like I said, the more common a word is submitted, the bigger it gets. So feel free to submit as many as you want, maybe around 3, 1, 5, it doesn't matter. As long as we are doing this, as long as it's opened, whatever you're thinking of. And it doesn't have to be just one word. It could be a short little phrase. So if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. But it should be a pretty straightforward process. And the links are in the chat. So we can see it shifting here as people type in, and it's recalculating what is the most popular response. And it looks like deforestation is pretty big. A lot of agribusiness, animal agriculture, fossil fuels, transportation and capitalism, greed.
All right, what do you think, Annie? Are we good? I can let it go for a minute more. Up to you guys.
We definitely have our big three for sure.
All right.
That's our consensus.
Welcome back, everyone. I think Shar is going to get us started.
I am. We're really excited to introduce everybody to our region-wide climate action teams. They're the NAZCCA CATs. So each CAT is going to give a short overview of their team to better familiarize everybody with their team and the work that they're doing together. And if you have any questions during each of the presentations, please just drop them in the chat box. And then at the end of the program, we're going to give the opportunity to everyone to join a specific CAT breakout room. So we hope you enjoy the program. Now I'm going to kick us off and introduce you to the Prescott Interfaith Climate Action Team, or the ICAT. So we're a small but very faithful group in Prescott. Our members represent 6 different faith communities, and we've been gathering since February of last year. The pandemic kind of moved us to Zoom, where we're meeting monthly now, but we share events occurring in our own faith communities, and we invite interfaith participation, and we keep our faith communities updated on what's happening in our region through NAZCCA and other forums, and what's going on with the other CATs as well. And our focus in our ICAT is on the intersection of faith and the environment. So to that end, we're going to kick off Earth Week this year on Sunday, April 18th, with our Earth Care Sunday 2021 event. We'll have a webinar where we'll share several love letters to the earth. And then we're going to follow that with an interview hosted by NAZCCA board member Frankie Reamer. And her guest will be Granite Peak Unitarian Universalists Reverend Patty Willis. So we hope you can join us for this important discussion of our love for the planet and for each other. At the end of the program today, I'll be available in the ICAT breakout room to welcome your questions and interests. Thank you very much.
All right, I think we have Beverly up next, and I will put a slide up for Beverly.
Okay, I am Beverly Hedden, and I represent Cottonwood Volunteers. We're not really a CAT because we have a very small number of volunteers, and but we try to get a lot done because we're pretty active. We've had shoe strikes since July until September. We are having one tomorrow, shoe strike for climate change. Love Your Planet is more or less the theme of it. It will be in Jerome at 2 o'clock to 4 p.m. If you at all interested, we're going to be on the steps across from the Spirit Room. And it's been, people stop by and they look, they're interested. So we can't really intermingle so far, during COVID. We've had a few volunteers like Claudia Clark and Lansing Day, and Bonnie Lane has really been very helpful during this time. We're also, Bonnie Lane and I are on the steering committee for March Madness. March Media Madness. I know I would get that wrong. We will be having a meeting for the general for the general population next Tuesday on the 2nd at 6:30 p.m. because we're trying to reach everybody, no matter how you can reach people, by writing letters, by having writing op-eds, by however you can reach people about climate awareness now, about climate action, about the climate crisis. So we're going to help you do that next Tuesday. If you're interested, it will be at 6:30 on Zoom. The other thing that we've done is that we are kicking off Earth Day. I talked with the Sedona Action Network, which is kind of, we've been doing this for years. They handle the Women's March and I handle the climate parade. We're going to have a climate car parade. It's going to be on Thursday, April 22nd, which is Earth Day, starting at 10 a.m. We're going to use EVs and electric vehicles and hybrids. We're starting at Posse Grounds in Sedona and weaving our way through West Sedona to Cottonwood, where we will stop at the new EV station, a charging station, which is right behind City Hall, for a little photo op there. We're inviting people to bicycle along with us as our cars are moving from Sedona to Cottonwood. And then we will be moving to Clarkdale, and we will be stopping around the square where we'll have another photo op. We will decorate the cars just to make people aware of Earth Day and the climate crisis. And FYI, the Earth Day theme for this year is Restore Our Earth, which is, of course, I have my lights down low. It represents regenerative farming and soil degradation, which is, if we could solve those problems, that would go very far in mitigating the CO2 problem that we have in our world. We're very interested in recruiting more volunteers, and I invite you to join me in a breakout room if you're at all interested in what we're doing. Finally, I see that Kathy Ransom brought us Tom Bowman's books and his presentation, which were really phenomenal. And you can see his books on the page. What if solving the climate crisis is simple? And Kathy is going to bring me the Empowering Climate Action book to me tomorrow. They're very, very reasonable if you want to purchase them, because he wants to get them out to people. So thank you very much, and please join me in our breakout room.
Thank you, Beverly. And I think we have Annie up next for the youth team.
Yeah, hi. Obviously, my name is Annie. I am one of the lead organizers for the Youth Action Team, sometimes called YAT, sometimes called YCAT for Youth Climate Action Team. And really, it's just a bunch of, I suppose, younger people within NAZCCA who are working together to, promote the mission. We join with other climate action teams. We work with other local and regional organizations or campaigns. We've been doing some expanding to make this more regional. So I'm based in Prescott, but we are welcoming anyone who is interested, and we kind of do a wide range of things. We're working on an Earth Week event so that we can have some youth representation within that. NAZCCA is doing a whole week of stuff, so look out for the Do the Most Compost booth. There's going to be a Monday event, Tuesday, we're all connecting it, and that will be out soon. So I'm super excited about that. That's how I got started with NAZCCA last year, was interning and working to plan Earth Week. So I got connected and asked to kind of engage and empower youth, and it's definitely been an awesome experience. I didn't have much previous history with community engagement. I was new to Prescott, and Carrie sent me a great message. And And so I encourage anyone who is kind of interested in getting started with this kind of work to just attend a meeting. Everyone's really nice and casual, and you don't have to know what you're doing. So, because I have definitely learned so much through this process. So, I suppose we just did we called it Arizona's Energy Destiny, and it was support or encouraging people to learn about and get engaged with some of the House, the bills and legislature that's going on around the Arizona Energy Corporation. And I'm sorry if my internet is busting out on me right now, but okay. Made me lose my place. Yeah, so we, like I said, are working regionally. We're planning for Earth Week. We want to expand and connect with other organizations. We want to empower people and make them feel confident. And I can vouch for all of that because I was not super comfortable in the beginning of this. And through like the support of our community organizers and just all the other volunteers, it's been a really great experience. So you can meet in my breakout room and we can talk about some interests and opportunities and questions and all that good stuff.
Thank you.
And I believe I'm passing it on to Francis,
Who is actually, I think, stuck in another meeting. So we're going to skip to Raina. Thanks, Annie. The youth team is amazing. We love our youth team.
Okay. Hello, everybody. My name is Raina Butler, and I am an intern with NAZCCA, and I'm leading the Food, Land Use, and Health Climate Action Team. I'm based in Flagstaff, but it's open to everybody because we're doing all virtual events. So just the simple goals of this climate action team is to create better food cultures in these local communities, emphasize the interconnectedness between food, health, sustainability, in the communities, and to also help the communities get more engaged and involved with planning projects that revolve around learning about the effects of climate change and how to reduce those through food and whatnot and sustainability practices. And so we have a few upcoming events. We have one coming up in March, and that's going to be the Food and Sustainable Living event, and that's going to be a small panel of local Northern Arizona food-related organizations and farmers talking about the importance of sustainable eating and kind of why they're doing what they're doing. And it's also a chance to get the community to be like, oh, I'm very interested in that. Maybe I'll join that group. And then we're also doing one on March 31st, and that's going to be a COVID-19 and climate change in Indigenous communities. And that's going to be focusing on how COVID and climate change have been disproportionately impacting Indigenous communities, and also hoping to bring awareness to how environmental racism is amplifying those effects and impacts and the severity of it. And I'm planning on making one more event because I have to do 3. So that the third event is still in the works, and so I'm definitely need some more help with that. And I will be available after in the breakout rooms for the food section if you were interested in getting involved with that.
So much, Raina. That was great. I'm really excited for those events as well. And so while we're still waiting for Francis, let's go ahead and skip to our Sedona team, which is going to be Jim and Peggy.
Peggy, you want to go ahead?
I'm unmuted. Okay. So Jim and I have been working with our sustainability manager here at while we're preparing our climate action plan. This has been like a long process, but we really petitioned our council to move forward on this, and we've been tracking their budget process and are so proud to show that they prioritized sustainability for their budget cycle, and we'll be providing our manager with assistance and more help moving this forward, which is a really big step for us. We're trying to do some background work for her while she's overworked right now, handling a lot of stuff to get this launched by next summer. We have a meeting that you'll see here, the Climate Strategy Hour, every month, the first Thursday at 5:15. It's a Zoom meeting, and it lasts probably till 6:30, where we do a strategy session and think about how we can be building our teams. You know, some of our teams have resulted in an effort to have a tool lending library here, and we got a wonderful intern who worked on exploring all the ramifications of tool sharing, and we're just about ready to launch that. You can go to the NAZCCA website and see the video on that. It's really exciting. And Jim is working a lot on energy and EV links for Sedona, and we're trying to be as sensitive as we possibly can and moving forward to engage all of the communities that live in Sedona or service Sedona. For example, the tool lending library, you can borrow tools even if you don't live in Sedona, if you work in Sedona. So anyway, I'll let Jim explain a little bit more about our energy focus and EV, and probably talk about the Sustainability Alliance connection.
So we're very excited here in Sedona to have you help us. And you can live in any community to be a part of one of our teams, because we just want to match your passion and let you bring your expertise into our team. So when it comes to electrification, we really feel like we want to be aligned with renewable energy, solar and wind. And so we want to have charging stations. And so we want to look at the electrification of ATVs and Jeeps, because they create tremendous amount of noise as well as pollution that we breathe. So for clean air, as well as for a quiet landscape, there's high benefits. And Take Charge Arizona is a great program that could help businesses. So if you want to reach out to a business and see if they'd be interested in getting free charging stations at their business, it's a possibility they could get it free, and then they would just be a part of a solar, rooftop solar plan that's happening throughout Prescott all the way up to Flagstaff, and they could charge their ATVs. And the other thing is we're really trying to look at, and this is very exciting as well, is a carbon offset. So when someone comes from New York to the Grand Canyon, they may visit Prescott or Sedona or Flagstaff. They can offset the amount of greenhouse gases they emitted on the airplane and their rental car by essentially supporting a project. So we're in the preliminary stages, and our Sedona sustainability plan wants to have a carbon offset. So they've kind of encouraged us to provide some leadership and some direction. So we meet to essentially look at model cities that have done this and look at case studies and what works. And so anyway, if you'd like to be part of this, we need people that want to research plants, that grow, that would uptake greenhouse gases, CO2. We also need people that want to do research just on the internet for a half hour or 2 hours a week or something like that to find great examples. So back to you, Peggy.
Okay, I just want to give a shout out to what's going to happen once the climate action plan is launched. The city is going to initiate a climate ambassadors program. And I think this is going to go kind of hand in glove with what the Sustainability Alliance is working on, which is a STAR program, which it encourages people to participate in forums like this, and then to dedicate time towards sustainability and climate action, and to gain points and then become kind of a climate ambassador, but you become like a star. You become a person who can teach other people. And so it's each one teach one. If you've been a teacher, you understand how that works. People that teach things learn more, and we're all experiencing that as we go along. So we're constantly trying to build our teams here, and really reaching out to be both seeing who our mentors are and also mentoring other people as we go along. So we're glad to be part of this team and encourage you to join every team you're interested in.
Thank you guys. The Sedona team is always up to exciting things, and it's a small community. And so we're so thankful for all the volunteers we get to work on that. So I think, sorry, I can't see anything when I'm screen sharing, but I think we'll go ahead and jump to Flagstaff. I think.
Oh, I'm here. If
Oh,
we can jump in.
okay.
Sorry.
Yes,
I
sorry.
renamed myself. I came in on Kathy Rutherford's Zoom. My apologies.
All right. Thanks. Welcome, Francis.
Thank you. I'm on the East Coast, so it's 2 hours later here. So I asked Jenna if I could, so I don't drink too much before I have to present. And it is Friday, right? So I appreciate that. So I've been working with Jenna and Carrie on a podcast series that NAZCCA has been supporting. It's called Arizona Climate Conversations, Stories from Our Backyard. And we have a link on our website. We've had 2 podcasts so far, one with Rolf von Dorp, who, as all of you know, is our progenitor, the person who gave us the idea and is the chairman of the board right now. A delightful conversation about his activism work. And then we also recently talked to Sandy Barr from the Grand Canyon chapter of the Sierra Club about her motivation in climate activism. And what we're trying to do with the podcast is really highlight people, highlight examples, highlight people in Arizona who are doing work, and trying to demystify what it means to do that work in Arizona, and to learn from each other's examples, so we don't have to continually be reinventing the wheel, right? That climate change is something that we're all taking on. We're all we're all people, and we're all figuring out our ways of moving in, getting into the conversation. So the podcast is great. I think the 2 episodes we've had so far are fun and interesting, and we'd like to do more, but we seriously need a team to help to work on this. We need people to help identify who might want to join us on the podcast. We need people in production. We need people to help with the interviews. We need interviewers. If you're interested in being in front of the camera, that's great. If you're interested in being behind the camera, that's great. If you're interested in production, that's great. I think this is a really exciting little project, and we would welcome more folks getting involved and helping us out. It's not complicated, but it seems to require more time and effort than Jenna and Carrie and I combined can have, and we really welcome other folks to help us sort of formulate what a podcast might look like, what might be fun in a podcast, and what those of us in Arizona can contribute to conversations around climate change. So yeah, thanks for letting me talk about this. I'd love for this to be a joint project. It's developing organically. So it's, I think, thanks to Jenna and Carrie, we've really been able to get it off the ground. Jenna's been a fabulous producer, incredible producer with a capital P. We're learning as we go, right? And we're sort of figuring out what we want this to look like as we go. So there's lots of room for creative participation. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So jump in, contact me, contact Jenna. We'd love to have you. And I do want to say that the Sedona group is fabulous. And I find it really exciting to be able to engage in climate action in our own community. I think that it's such a wonderful opportunity to really make a difference in the communities in which we live. And so, I love the Sedona group as well. And it's so lovely to be in this conversation when there are so many ways to get involved with NAZCCA's work. So thanks.
Thank you, Francis. And yes, just to emphasize, you need no experience. Like the three of us just one day decided we were going to start a podcast. And so even if you want to make a graphic, if you want to just jump on and try out an episode and see if you want to get involved, we would love to have you. Yes, we need a lot of help. So thank you. All right. And I think next we are going to jump into our Flagstaff team. I think it's Stefan and Brian are both here. So welcome.
Thanks, Jenna.
Thank you, Jenna. This is Brian. Go ahead, Stefan.
Well, Jenna, do you have some slides that you're going to share for us, or should I share them from here?
I can upload them.
I think Jenna maybe needs to do it. Okay.
There you go.
There we go. Can everybody see that okay? So we have many different climate action teams in Flagstaff. One of the ones that has been very active in the last few months is the Shoe Strike for Climate Justice Climate Action Team. And basically it started because we had a group of Fridays for Future folks who no longer wanted to gather physically. And shoe strikes were an idea that came out of Sweden. And it's a way to have a demonstration at City Hall without gathering a big bunch of people and spreading COVID. So we've sent out large numbers of shoes that represent the people who contributed them. And so really we do have a large crowd of folks there, but only through their shoes and through signs. We have some large banners, and we do it every last Saturday of the month. And we're going to continue to do these kinds of shoe strikes at least through April. So in April, we're going to not do it on the last Saturday. We're actually going to do it for Earth Day. And then in May, we are planning to shift from shoe strike to bike strike. And a bike strike basically is a bunch of people getting on bikes. Being on bikes also distances people, and each bike has a climate action sign. And this picture here shows you an example of a bike strike that took place in Bangladesh this last September. So we're not the first to come up with the idea of bike strikes, but we have a lot of bike enthusiasts in Flagstaff. So we're going to reach out to the various biking groups and hope to put on a big parade. So, I'm realizing that I just jumped in and started talking about things that Brian was going to talk about. So Brian, tell us what I'm forgetting about shoe strikes.
Well, let me introduce myself real quick. My name is Brian Bates. I live in Flagstaff for the last 40 years. And I, like you, I'm a concerned climate activist. I am new to this group, but I am not new to the climate action movement. I taught at the community college for 24 years. I'm a science teacher. I taught science for 44 years total. And I began teaching about climate disruption. Now, I use the term climate disruption because I think that that is a more accurate description than climate change. But I began teaching about it in 1992, and it was part of my curriculum in the environmental science program that I designed. I even worked with Stefan for a while on that. And I also work as a naturalist, so I often meet with some influential people, and climate change is often a topic. And I have even had people that change their mind and say, well, it might be more extensive than what we had known. So one of the things that I want to share with you is one of my favorite quotes. It comes from George Washington, the first president of our country. And he said in his speech when he was leaving office, he said, We should not unnecessarily burden future generations with problems that we have created. And I think that that is so key. We are responsible for what we do on this planet. We are responsible for how we live our lives. And the impacts that we're having on human and environmental health are extensive. You all know this. I'm not telling you anything new. But what I want us to begin to do is to talk not just about climate change, but connect it to all of the other impacts it has in terms of health, in terms of ecosystem stability and services, in terms of future generations. Now, I want to thank everybody here in this meeting, but also everyone who's ever worked on climate issues. I think it's absolutely crucial. It is the most existential problem that we have faced in humankind, and probably the greatest threat to life itself since the large meteoroid slammed into Yucatan, what was it, 100 million years ago. Now, we have been consistently having climate, the shoe strike out on the lawn at the City Hall. In September, we had 500 pairs of shoes. Since then, we have had 700 pairs of shoes every month. And so we're out there trying to educate the public. We get people that'll honk their horns. But like everything else, we also get the climate deniers who will come by in their over revved up pickups and then hit the gas and spew us with all their smoke. And folks, I think that that's really important because it's actually a symbol of what they're doing. They're making smoke disguise the real issues. And so one of the things that we need to be doing is to recognize that, yes, we're going to have those who don't believe it, but they are denying the truth. They're denying future generations. I won't, Stefan, you already went through the fact that on March, we're going to be at the Arizona Daily Sun, which is our local newspaper, to try to get more information about the climate situation out. In April, our Earth Day, and then the bike strike, as you see in this photo. So I want to thank everyone for your engagement, your dedication, and your courage, because it does take courage to stand out there, to put yourself on the street and to interact with people who may have different opinions. But it is absolutely crucial. And so I want to close by sharing that we are the people of climate change action. And it is our grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and future generations who will remember what we do. And so we're not acting so much for ourselves, we're acting for future generations. And I think there is no better cause than that we could be involved in. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. And I forgot to introduce myself at the very beginning. So what Brian was just talking about, our shoe strike that's going to be at the end of this month. If we could go back to the share screen, Jenna. Is everybody still seeing those slides? Yeah, next slide. Thank you. Perfect. So one thing that we're focusing on starting, what is it, Monday? The 1st of March. We wanted to, so we're using the shoe strikes to elevate the conversation at one level, but we also want to elevate the conversation through media. So we're not seeing this climate crisis is affecting everything, as Brian was just saying. It is the thing that is affecting all life on Earth. Why is it not the headline every day? And it's not like there's just one issue. We've got climate refugees. We've got species fleeing northward. We've got agricultural systems shifting and changing, and that's part of why we have climate refugees. So why is this not the headline? So we've got a campaign going called March Media Madness, and it's actually gone national. But we hope that regionally we have a big turnout where people write letters to the editor, op-eds, and reach out to their newspapers, their radio stations, and any other media that they like to listen to, and get them to print things about climate. So there's some details. If you look, we're going to have an orientation meeting on March 2nd. It's Tuesday at 5:30 p.m. And to join in on that meeting, the link is right there. I don't know if Jenna, maybe you could put that link in the chat.
She already has.
She already has. Thank you so much. So if you want to come to the meeting, we're going to have experts on how to connect effectively with print media and radio and social media. And we're going to talk a little bit about what kind of topics might be good to cover. Each letter needs to be unique. So we're not going to give you a template, but we will help you with topics if you need topics. Probably most of you already have plenty of topics. So just quickly, that's that. Please join us on Tuesday if you can. And last slide. So here we've got in Flagstaff, for those of you who might be interested in other things, we've got a large number of different climate action teams, not just the Shoe Strike team and the March Media Madness team, but we've got a faith networking action team, a message development action team, an Earth Day action team, climate curriculum development action team, and we've got a radio show, which has been on hold because of COVID, but the Spotlight on Climate is the name of the show. And we certainly need help from folks to promote that show. And there's a lot of details there. Please just contact me if you have any questions about that or any of these. And then Jenna knows more about the Youth Climate Action Team. So contact Jenna about that one. One thing that I was recently asked by one of our city council members here in Flagstaff is, why are more NAZCCA people not coming to the city council meetings and making statements? He said they need people to show up at these meetings. And so I'm hoping that we can form a team of us who can make a point of going on Tuesdays to the city council meetings and making statements about climate whenever we have the opportunity. I've recently been trying to reach out to the March for Science group here in town, and their old Facebook page is defunct. The people who were the administrators there are not active, so we may need to bring that to the forefront again, and maybe we could get an action team working on that. And then really, if you're enthusiastic about a particular thing and you want to start a movement, an activity, an action, your idea here. We need people to bring their ideas forward. And as long as it fits the mission of NAZCCA, we will do what we can to support you in getting another team going. So reach out to Jenna if you have ideas for new action teams. And if you have questions about any of these existing action teams, reach out to me. I'll put my email address in the chat if anybody does want to find out more about any of those. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Stefan and Brian. And for you guys who don't know them, two of the nicest guys and so knowledgeable. If you ever have a climate change question, just ask them. They will give you the most detailed and best explanation. They're always here for volunteers. So thank you guys both. And yeah, we'll be sending out the chat box. Raina is helping us so much with that. And then we'll be sending out all these links afterwards as well. And I don't think Stefan was here yet, but the youth team went earlier. So definitely send that along to youth and Flagstaff as well. And so I think we have Prescott up next.
Yeah, so I'm back with our Prescott team. We called one of our teams the Public Climate Action Team. So this is a team that we work on getting, I guess, public attention. We're doing some demonstrations. We are the team that has been working on the Prescott shoe strikes. We are open to putting rallies and marches together for various things. We've done the climate march in the past, kind of before it was the official team, but that would fall under our category. We do, we're looking to engage people in what seems to be kind of a common thread in what I've been participating in lately. What I've been seeing a lot is engaging with your representatives, with your city council, with the people who are making laws and changes and stuff. So we want to engage our volunteers in that way and demonstrate to the public both how and why to do these things. So it's a pretty fun team if you like getting out there and doing those activist sort of maybe you want to post some art that represents something and do a little protest or some sort of demonstration. So that's kind of what this public action team is about.
Hi, I'm Patrick, also from Prescott. I serve on actually several local climate action teams. First off, before I go in that direction, I want to say how honored we are to have three indigenous members of the Yavapai Apache Nation on whose sacred land we here in Prescott sit. And we're also honored to be working with them on a webinar event that would be slated for Earth Week. So I again, thank you for being with us this evening. The Public Climate Action Team, several of us have actually attended some training around how to put together a campaign around a particular issue. And we've done that for 6 weeks. It just completed last night. And it's been very instructive and exciting to us. And so we're looking at putting together a campaign around having a climate risk assessment done for our community. Some of you likely know that Flagstaff did a climate assessment back in 2012, an updated one in 2018. Sedona did a climate profile for Sedona in the Verde Valley, released in April of 2020. And we over here across the other side of the biggest mountain feel neglected. And so it's one of the things where we think we can make a start through our Public Climate Action Team to put together a broad scale campaign to encourage and demand that we in our communities here in Prescott, Prescott Valley, Chino, et cetera, that we have a climate assessment as well. We're a part of Yavapai County too. So if you're interested in learning more about that campaign specifically, or about the campaigns in general and what that seminar looked like and what some of our takeaways, feel free to join in a breakout room after that. Thanks.
Thank you, guys. I was just making sure Annie wasn't going to say anything else, but
Right.
Prescott team, super fun. I've actually snuck into their meetings before. They are doing great things, and I love the QR codes. And it's as hard as this last year has been, it's been kind of a silver lining, get to really see what all these other teams are working on and other communities that are so close by, and to just learn from each other. So thank you all. And I think that's going to wrap it up for our teams. We do also have a movie club that is wonderful. It's just a super laid back thing to join. We let volunteers pick the movies, and a few people each time kind of step up and think of a couple of discussion questions, and they kind of just started. We decided to do it, and it's one of our biggest team. I think we have 60 plus people that have signed up for it. So it's just a fun way to spend the afternoon. So there will be a link for that as well. And then I think we're going to do one more word cloud and then we're gonna wrap it up. So thank you all to those presenters and for taking the time to kind of condense what you guys are working on and share it with everyone.
So this word cloud is the same essentially as the first one. You can follow any 3 options to get yourself to the input center, the QR code, the website. You can use your phone, and we're going over, or we want to brainstorm some solutions to climate change. So really think of the best things that you've seen to solve this crisis, what we're working on, what could be worked on, what has come up recently. There's some really cool things that I get in my newsletters and I'm like, who thinks of this? And it's pretty uplifting. So go ahead and brainstorm those and put them into that bar, type it in, your phrases and words, and we can watch our cloud transform with the solutions.
You guys are doing great work. I'm just sitting here watching it all. It's so fun for me to watch.
Super fun. I love these word clouds. I think they're really interesting. And I keep seeing words and adding them to putting them back in again. Yeah.
Definitely makes it a little more.
Oh, compost. I want to say that. Exactly.
I think we should make t-shirts out of these.
Yeah, I love them.
Awesome. All right, I'm gonna stop it here in just a second, but I think I said this earlier, I'll send these out later, and even if you're still typing in words right now, they'll keep showing up. So awesome. I'm gonna start setting up the breakout rooms, which will take me a second, but I just want to thank you guys all for being here tonight, and we're going to send out all these resources. So even if you don't save the chat box, we have a nice PDF ready, and I just really encourage you guys to just even come to one meeting for a team, get to know some people, and just share an idea if you have one. I mean, that's kind of the whole goal of our organization, is to figure out what passions you guys have and find ways to make those happen and to turn you guys into lifelong activists and have you tell more people about it. So we're just trying to build a movement, and it really takes everyone. So chat among yourselves for a second, and I will open up all those breakout rooms. We'll leave them open for about 10 minutes or so, and then we'll close them, and you guys are free to go. Thank you guys for all being here on a Friday night. We appreciate it. So let me get working.